What is going on, everybody? This is Antonius the Gamer here with my two co-hosts, Mikkel Smith and Super SSS Rank, here for another episode of the Press Start Select podcast, episode 32. Fellas, summer is here officially. Nintendo dropped their Direct, and I think that's where we'll start. We'll just directly start from there. Nintendo did their Direct. To be honest, I know we all weren't expecting much, seeing how we're heading into the sunset period of the Nintendo Switch. And we already know, and they've announced and confirmed multiple times that whatever the successor of the Switch is kind of their priority going into 2025. But given the announcements, with one announcement in particular being revealed during the Nintendo Direct, what were the things that you guys were surprised by besides Capcom's announcement? Was there anything that kind of caught your eye in terms of interest?
The Metroid Prime game. I was like, wow, that was a great presentation. Even in the remakes that they announced, like Luigi's Mansion, the Donkey Kong game. So I felt like they covered some good bases.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are some great experiences. Overall, the rest of it was cool. Like I said, like it felt like a good, decent 7 out of 10 send off, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Like hey, yes, we're understanding we're putting resources towards the future, but here are some things to look forward to.
Okay. Okay. Joy, what about you? Is there anything that caught your eye besides the obvious?
I think this is exactly the obvious. I was expecting for it to be slow, simple stuff. Mario Party is a safe bet, right? It always sells and actually sold more than Zelda.
Which is
Crazy,
crazy. Yeah.
which is crazy. And then you would think, right, Mario Party would go in the direction of a Fall Guys or an Among Us with all the creativity that they have, right? Like, why is Among Us doing more Mario things than not Among Us, but the Fall Guys doing more Mario things than Mario? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what the innovation is obviously there. You got a lot of these games, like Mario's a platform game. What's that game to where you're escalating on Steam and you kind of try to reach the top, or you'll fall off?
It's not called Fall Guys?
No, there's Fall Guys where it's a group of people, and then you guys are all trying to balance each other and not fall. And there's another one where you guys are like trying to climb to the highest point. It's like a Steam game,
I wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
but
Mm-mm.
but I'm pretty sure one of our viewers will know what that game is. But yeah, Metroid Prime 4 was a surprise, but was a little disappointed because it's like Metroid Prime for the GameCube kind of looks better, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
Yeah, it just looks Metroid Prime for the GameCube just looks more I don't know, it hits more impactful. This one looks a little bit too cartoony. Um and then to be honest with you, do I want a first person Metroid game? I don't think so, right? Not really.
I mean, but
Uh
that's kind of its legacy to some degree. It's like it's either has been first person or it's been a side scroller. Not for nothing.
I think with new innovation is why not try a third way, right? Like I think that it's time to innovate with the new legacy. I think Metroid Prime would benefit from a third person on the Switch,
But then
like
go to go,
truthfully.
but to go back to your point, it was playing it safe, and I think that's
Yeah.
the overall what this direct was about: playing it safe.
Which is fine, but I think you could have had at least probably one. Well, oh, okay, standing ovation as a send off, right? It was. I don't know if we were talking or if I was reading this in the chat. It was for a send off. It was it wasn't as strong as I was hoping it to be.
I
Um,
mean, that's my opinion on it. Like, I think I get it that we've definitely seen, especially with the most recent, Breath of the Wild sequel and even Bayonetta 3. Like, we've seen that like the Nintendo Switch it's at uh its peak. That we're at the end in terms of how far we can push this hardware. And, at a certain point, it starts to look a little ugly. But I think in terms of just like, given that this is the holiday season and Nintendo is notorious for dropping a banger around October November time, for Super Mario Party to really be the only thing that's kind of get everything moving and shaking first party wise, what to me was a little surprising. Like Metroid 4, like yes, it's a welcome surprise, but obviously you can tell they're gonna have like a next gen quote unquote version of it for whatever
Yeah,
the Switch
yeah.
successor is. You can
And
tell,
the
like
thing,
it's obvious.
hmm and my thing is with that is okay. Is this next gen version of Metroid Prime 4 going to be superior in many ways, or like
I would think so.
so? What would make it superior? Just the graphics, right? Or nothing. That the gameplay wouldn't change, and I don't think that's enough, right?
Graphics, I
What's
mean,
the
to be
point?
honest, like Nintendo, the Switch was the only console this cycle that is still dealing with loading screens, really and truly. So anything that's going to reduce loading on Nintendo's side, they can only stand to benefit from it. I would think. I don't think we're
Hmm.
getting the SSD Switch, for example, but just anything that where it's like, anytime I pick up my Switch, I'm like, all right, loading screens, like that's
Yeah.
always the one thing I'm like, they got to get past
Uh,
this,
they got to, man. And it's wild, right? Because you don't even deal with that on the Rogue Ally or Steam Deck,
right?
So, Mario Brothers Brothership was cool.
Yeah,
I like that. I think
yeah,
it
the aesthetic of
was
it looked dope. It's another remake though, which is kind of weird. Like, do you guys have any thoughts
really.
about like we're essentially getting every single Mario Legacy title remade into a Switch title? Like, how do y'all feel about that?
I think they're trying to fill in the gaps from many multiple generations, because you remember, like like we said on past pods, bro. It's just like we are like almost 2 to 3 generations above certain people. So the things that we experience, and I would say the prime of our youth, like probably like high school or stuff. Remember, a
Hmm.
certain amount of people never really experienced that to a certain extent. So I do feel like they're just trying to cover bases to reintroduce people into different things by using the formula, because it's working for certain people depending on what you do with it. It worked for Sony, it worked for Capcom. Um, so I mean, depending on how
It's
it's
definitely
done,
working for Capcom.
yeah, it's working to an extent, bro. And I don't knock them for trying it, but then I do feel like it needs there's also needs to be some additions to it, man. There needs to be something that, like, I don't want just a port for port,
Hmm.
because we've seen what that does. Like, for example, the whole fiasco with Rockstar and things of that nature. It's like I was so upset to log on the PlayStation Store to see Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Redemption 1 bundled together. I was like, no,
Yeah,
no.
and not in the way you would have wanted it, right? It's like there's nothing wrong with necessarily a port, but it's like I know for a fact that that port is not like
It's kind of
worth it.
crazy. It's actually 3 games. It's Red Dead Revolver, Red Dead Redemption, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Y'all
Yeah,
forgot
Mm.
about Revolver?
yeah, no, I remember Revolver, but then,
Yeah,
It's
it's
just yeah.
accessibility.
yeah.
Hmm. My
Um,
in terms of ports though, like what do you got? 'Cause to me, in terms of like a sunset for the Switch, like given the success of both the Mario Brothers movie and just everything surrounding the properties, I thought it was kind of weird that we're not getting a Donkey Kong game as like a send off for the Switch. Like we're getting a remaster, but it's just like during the entire Switch cycle, we've gotten one Donkey Kong game.
But it's for
it's
the kids, bro. It's for the kids, because I can tell you right now, if I were to play that trailer in front of my nephew who watches that movie religiously, it's
Mm,
brand new to him. Yeah, it may say remastered or whatever on and below it, but he's not seeing that. He's not seeing that. He's seeing
mm,
something that is new to him.
mm.
you know, I wanted to look at. I want to go at a different angle with that. I
Okay.
think a lot of you guys don't know this, but it's the B team that made that game, and I think Nintendo right now is building stronger teams, and the way you would do that is you would test them with the remake. Because if they could remake something,
Hmm.
right, they can, they're closer to being able to, they're closer to being able to make something completely original, right? Because say I'm a graphic designer, right, and you say, hey, look, this is the logo I made when I was 12 years old. Make this logo, modernize it today, and I do that. That's a lot. That's not easy, right?
Hmm.
Because you have to follow a rubric, and which is what the original design was. and it still has to carry that essence, that flavor, that timeliness. And I think right now what Nintendo's doing with these remakes, because you gotta pay attention, it's 3, right? So it's a safer way to build a team and a smarter way, because you can't
Mm,
lose, right? the you really can't lose, right? The worst thing they could do is make a 1-for-1, right? It just like Tim said, that's the worst
mm,
they could do. Um, Obviously, so I think it's more on that aspect because they realize, man, we need we need to build a team. We need to have teams that are just as capable because we're not going to have veterans anymore. These guys are out the door, like you
mm.
said. So hey, let's give these guys a platform, and then later on they can add some new flair to things. They can add some go in a completely new direction because we have to rebuild. And what do you do when you rebuild? You give them your team smaller projects to the point where you be like, man, we built a team enough. And Nintendo has to kind of do that, right? Because their first party games are the lifeline of Nintendo. So, if for them, I wouldn't critique them the same way I would a Capcom, because Capcom is cash is king over there. It is with Nintendo too, but Nintendo values the creative and the money just more. I would say they could value the creative so much that they don't want you to make money off of it
I mean, I kind of
freely.
disagree with that part because, like, I look at it like I think Nintendo, just like how PlayStation has a formula, just how Xbox has a formula, Nintendo low key is starting to establish a formula for itself, right? Like, so for example, when I say that, like, look at Super Mario Odyssey, right? That was essentially the spiritual successor of Super Mario 64, and it sold very well. You look at Kirby, the Forgotten Land, and Kirby basically was their version of Super Mario 64, but with Kirby. Sold very well, critically reviewed. Breath of the Wild, Zelda's version of Super Mario Odyssey. It's like they have this thing where it's like, if all else fails, you can take your first party characters, especially because Donkey Kong 64 was such a beloved game. You could take that formula to Donkey Kong. Here's Donkey Kong 64, the sequel. Top down,
Hey,
third
listen,
person,
but
semi open worlds.
Jungle Beat, Donkey Kong Jungle Beat was a sleeper, man. That was one of that. That's the direction you take Donkey Kong, man.
I mean, I'm fine with either direction. I'm just saying, like, in terms of
Jeez.
like when it comes to an IP like that, where it's like, to Tim's point, it's like Donkey Kong is kind of being reintroduced to this younger generation. I just thought they would have something else besides a port for that particular character.
Slow
Like
start,
Link is getting another game. I mean, granted, Zelda's the protagonist, but
because
you're getting another game set in that world because they're gearing up for a Legend of Zelda movie at some point.
and I say this because, all right, so like, imagine a board meeting. Do we want to do a send off? Right? We should, right? But this game is so good. I think we should save it for our launch titles to have a
Mm.
stronger start. So we can let's not drop the big guns, because now for example, we drop the big guns and we're like, man, everybody at the boardroom meeting is like, yeah, we should have just waited for this one, man.
Yeah,
Because
Mm.
I also think they're playing it safe because you brought up this point in the chat, and when we were talking about it, yeah, bro, it just feels weird that you don't see nothing Pokemon related, and you brought up the technical issues and the things with Power World, and actually those makes a lot of sense, bro. Like Pokemon is such a big flagship, but as the technology just wasn't there for the world. Like there was so many crashes, so many things, so many issues, and it really messed up the vibe for a lot. So that's why I do say, like, in terms of this particular send off, they were choosing safe options that,
Mm.
okay, we know this game is going to sell because we're introducing it to a different audience, but then people also have been looking for ways to get accessible to these titles. And I think accessibility is one of the big things right now because I do feel like this particular generation is going to be the one that cements where if you buy this, I would say probably physically or digitally, you can have this literally forever.
Mm.
And I think that's what they're really focused about. So, like, yeah, well, when you saw these titles, it's like, yes, it's familiar to a certain audience, but I do see the longevity of what they did it for. Now,
Okay.
there's certain games where I just feel like that's a waste of time. Like, for to me, like the Until Dawn, I was like, bro, it was available last generation.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see when the final product comes out what differs from this to that. But hey, it works. So, but yeah, it did feel weird not seeing anything Pokemon, bro. I was like, bro, so
Yeah,
this literally is a dry season. So
and
we
not for
just so
nothing. Yeah, not for nothing. I just also feel like Nintendo has a solid enough backlog where you could do smaller games that at a smaller calculated risk. Like I saw this one YouTube video where someone was like, "Hey, this would be the perfect time to bring back F Zero." Right? Like they'd launched it like a F Zero kind of like online version,
Man,
and it's
I
like you
don't want no.
introduce Captain Falcon, and like it's just like I feel like there's like a lot of lower like almost B tier characters that you can kind of reintroduce to Tim's nephew and his
Can
generation.
can I be honest with you?
Hmm.
I wouldn't even want an F Zero racing game. To be
What?
honest, yeah, that's crazy. Tim, if you look at the lore for F Zero, it's so fire that you can't leave these characters just to a racing game. You could keep it, but personally, like, look at what they did. They took most of the parts that were exclusive to F Zero and they put it in Mario Kart. I'm be honest with you. Once I saw that, I was like, man, I don't see how they gonna make an F Zero. You know, because now you can do the crazy ramps. Now you got the thing going upside down. Your car has the gravitational tires and wheels, and
oh,
you
okay,
know what
I
I'm
see
saying.
what you
So
mean.
it's like I was heartbroken. I'm like, oh, yo, this is what I want F Zero to be, not Mario Kart. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
It kind of is
And
showing
so,
like the favoritism, and I think that's what Sony has done a better job of balancing out their mascots. Or
Mm.
even when one is fizzled out, there's a good way to introduce another one. Like look how they went from Sackboy to Astrobot. I felt
Yeah.
like that was a very smooth transition.
Mm.
Very, very smooth transition. Even like the mascot characters from the PlayStation One era to the PlayStation Two and Three, it's like you felt like how they complemented each other in a sense. We went from these anamorph characters to now grown men and female protagonists, with life issues. But then we still got that kid friendly mascot who is good at heart, who can intertwine in all of these worlds, and I felt that was
and
great.
let me and then I say that with F Zero, I think they should make a new F Zero game because the world, yo, you know, Captain Falcon's a bounty hunter.
Okay, so
You,
that's fine. You give Cowboy Bebop for kids
no,
in space
no,
cars.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? You could do that, right? I
That's what I'm
say,
saying. You
okay,
should make another game.
you should make a new game. No, you should make a
No,
new
that's what
game,
I
like a
said.
spinoff.
That
Oh,
was my
okay,
whole
okay,
thing. I was
okay.
like, yeah, make.
Oh,
But you
okay.
said you didn't want a new game. I'm like, no, you
No,
should make a new game.
I thought you meant towards racing. I didn't want. There's
No,
no
just
point. Yeah,
make
yeah, yeah.
just something, anything,
And
anything F
you
Zero.
know,
like,
and then yeah, and I'm like, yo, you know, did you guys know that Captain Falcon can do this? He was already this capable of combat. Nobody knew that. And
right?
he
Besides that
was.
one random YouTube clip of like, you're like, oh, he can do a Falcon punch. They didn't make that up for the game. He actually did that for real.
He,
For real.
It's tricky, but I think all right. Since technically Nintendo is building their cinematic universe because they see that
Yes,
it's working,
one
I do
thousand
I
percent.
do hope that none of their properties or future games is going to be tied strictly to movies. Because, like, first of all, I mean, what I'm saying, like, not like a direct tie-in, like, hey, the movie this, but then here comes that. Like, no, what I mean is like they're using these movies as momentum for future properties. Because look, the
Hmm.
new Princess Zelda game, obviously, because that's directed because they're going to introduce Zelda as a character. Because we all know this cinematic universe is building up to a Super Smash.
Yes,
It's building up to
Master
that.
Hand and all.
Like, bro, like when Donkey Kong literally was beating Mario, I was like, bro, it's right there.
The little rush he had. I'm
You're
like,
like, pop, 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 like they're literally building up Super Smash, bro. They literally are. Even when they were when they were doing the race kart scene, like when somebody would fall over, and the kind of sort of cinematic death or whatever, they're building up to this universe. So I do feel like,
which was fire.
it was.
but I do
Yeah.
feel like that's also going to be a hindrance because now you're thinking that all right, whenever they release something new, it's going to be attached to a film property.
No,
I
they
don't think
just
so.
don't follow suit. Nah, I don't
Yeah.
think so. Just don't follow suit, and nobody's gonna expect it. You know what I'm saying? Like you just don't. Hey, wait, what? They're not doing? No, they're not. Oh, okay. They go back to typing.
Yeah, Nintendo.
Just don't follow suit. That's it.
Nintendo. One of Nintendo's strengths is that they have the luxury of having two completely different IPs with dedicated fan bases.
Perfect.
They don't have. There doesn't need to be a spillover of Mario, the movie character, and Mario, the video game character.
I
They can
mean,
continue
we
to be two
still
completely different things, and people will still enjoy, in my opinion, at least.
Nintendo was still proud of the Mario Brothers with John Leguizamo. They was proud of that Mario, bro. Fam.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
was still proud of it.
It would be their mistake to make.
I just think there is some form of a tie-in. Like it may be subtle, but it's going to be some form.
Yeah,
Because like
there'll
even
be
Subtle
the
would be
part,
fine.
there'll be
even
costumes,
even the part when
there'll be-
Luigi was on the run and he ran into a mansion, I was like, Luigi's mansion.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
you kind of
that's-
have to, though.
Yeah,
right?
you have to.
You
bro.
have to with that
Yeah.
because you know what is Mario without the Mushroom Kingdom? And they gave more lore, right? He's from Brooklyn now. Like I don't care that Mario in the game is from Brooklyn.
Yeah,
You know, I rather they do what Sonic do. Like Sonic has a fake city, a fictional city. I like that the gun company. You know what I'm saying? Like that's fire, and it just happens to look like San Francisco. I want that.
Yeah.
I think something like Sonic creates a new way to express yourself in that manner, and so I think it's dope.
I guess my next question would be for you guys is, given that this was such a, let's just say again, safe Nintendo Direct, does that feel as if we're going to get an early release window for whatever the successor is for the Switch next year, or you guys think it'll be a fall release?
I think
winter
it'll
release,
still
I should
be a
say.
fall release because
Really?
when you look at it, bro, like Nintendo works a lot around like holidays.
Yes.
They
They're the king of
they work a lot. They
Thanksgiving,
work around
Christmas.
like holidays, and I do feel like they're trying to really use significant time to really develop the next piece of hardware because it goes back to a previous conversation that we had. I do feel, and I strongly feel, we are going to be with this current hardware for a while because it really is going to prove, bro. Like graphics does not mean much. It really does not because you're overhyping graphics, but then gameplay elements and story elements have just been dwindling. And I do feel like we have a solid piece of hardware here, and people are building deeper online infrastructure. Sony is showing that with their deeper dive into esports, and they're doing very very well about that. So I do feel like bringing in a different set of hardware is just going to separate your community all over again, which we've just gotten to I would say the early pinnacle point of building. So I do feel like yes, Nintendo is ready to make that step up now to where the other two are.
Okay.
But it's just I do feel like yes, this is the point where all right, we want to exist within the same realm as them, and we're gonna build titles to reflect that.
Okay.
So
That's fair. Outside of the obvious Mario launch title that comes with every new console release, do we see Pokemon around the time of the launch of the next system?
there's only one new Pokemon in the chamber. That's Pokemon Legends ZA. So, but that's still in the dark. We got one little trailer from that.
I say a second year.
I mean, because Pokemon's usually an annual release. They're missing this year for a fact.
Well, they did
Can they
say
afford to go another year without anything?
well, they did say Pokemon Legends ZA is coming out next year. And I know Pokemon Day is in February. So, if we don't really hear nothing by the holiday season, Pokemon Day is the only day that I think that hey, something will come.
Because I mean, like I said in the chat, I think you can't beat the power allegations at this point. Like it doesn't make sense that a game that borrows, let's just say, is heavily inspired from your world, goes on to do what it does, and you can't even get a game to run smoothly. Again, from a literally $1 billion franchise, like there's no reason why we shouldn't be getting a cutting edge Pokemon experience every time they come out the gate. So I feel like it's they're almost like in their Modern Warfare era, where like Modern Warfare had that weird thing where they kind of had to go back to basics to like really get themselves back on solid ground, because at one point you're like wall running in Modern Warfare and it's like I don't know, I don't know what we're doing now. We're doing That was my question.
You know, I like that crazy stuff, man.
No, I do too. It's just
Yeah.
it starts to it kind of gave that thing of like we all know Modern Warfare to have a formula, right? So it's like the more you deviate from that formula, it's like, can you just call this something else, right? Like, do we have to call this Modern Warfare at this point? Can it just be named whatever the next spinoff was? Like just how we have Black Ops. Black Ops is technically a spinoff of Modern Warfare.
I think they were trying to do that. Yeah, you know what? They should. You're right. Future
Just
Soldier, something
yeah,
like
Future
that. And after that, they would
Soldiers,
have been
Space
okay.
Marines, something. Yeah,
They would have been
something
okay.
like yeah,
I think
and it
so.
would have
You're
just done
right.
its own thing, and it would have been fine.
Because
Right?
Black
Like,
Ops is literally a religion. And I
yeah,
never thought anybody could beat Modern Warfare or compete with the original Modern Warfare. Like when we was in high school, Modern Warfare,
was it?
man, and it was good.
Yeah,
It was good. It wasn't like it didn't feel like no cash cow. You had your dudes in their 40s with that 90s man, 80s man energy making games. You can't beat those guys. You're crazy if you think go you there's nothing you can do to those men. Cuz
right.
even the action hero men write better dramas in their action films than dramas now.
Yeah,
You know
because
what I'm saying?
it was a very simple concept.
Like you watch Predator.
Displaced Native woman from a village that was burned down to the ground. Watch her parents die in front of her, and here comes Rambo.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Even
Armed
the
with a knife and
scores.
integrity.
Yeah.
My next question is, how do you guys feel? And then we'll move away from the Nintendo specific questions. How did you guys feel getting the official trailer, even though we knew about it from the showcase? How did you guys feel seeing Lego Horizons get officially announced for a Switch port?
I saw it coming. I saw it coming. I realized, Sony has been opening up certain things with the twists, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, especially like, one of the biggest things was when the MLB series opened up. I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then this, like, it fits. It fits. It really fits.
Okay.
Even when they established that PC studio that handles, the PC transfers, or I mean, I can't say full ports now these days because they have been releasing some titles same day now. So I was like, okay, you're doing better.
Yeah.
So like, but then to handle the PC side of things. So like, yes, they're expanding their brand to different audiences in good ways. Because I do feel like it's a way for them. All right, when these particular people grow up, you can experience the grown up version of this particular property on our platform.
Okay, that makes sense to me. They're playing the long game. I get it. Because
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, like, how do you guys feel about it being like, since Aloy is technically a PlayStation mascot, right? And we need more kid friendly mascot characters. I guess to your point, Tim, it's like, yes, you have this Lego version of her, but when you want to get the real deal, come to PlayStation.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like that. Do you got any thoughts on it, or?
I don't care.
Okay. All right, fellas. So let's transition into the big one, the big announcement that was made at the Direct, the thing that's had people talking all week. Marvel vs. Capcom is back, and more specifically, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is back. Now, my initial question is, why in the world was this announced at Nintendo Direct and not at Evo? Thoughts?
That is very.
You would have had grown men passing out in the aisles if it was announced at Evo.
I think we might get a release date at Evo.
But I'm talking about the viral moment, Tim. Yeah, someone would have passed out with the controller in hand at
because
Evo.
first of all, I kind of feel like Nintendo knew. They're like, yeah, bro, this Nintendo Direct is going to be very dry, so let's give them something.
Yeah, let's get that. Yeah,
let's make this 7 out of 10 show become an 8 point or 9. And I do feel like that was the big selling point, bro, because a lot of people are going to buy it for the Switch. Actually, to be honest, I feel like
it's
a
convenient.
lot of people are going to buy it twice. They're going to buy it for the Switch for the on-the-go experience, and depending the person that they are, of course, PS4 or Steam. So you're going to have my on-the-go version, and when I'm sitting home at the couch version.
Right.
Now, yes, that's a lot of going back and forth. But people have shown that that does not matter to them. They are just happy that it's back,
And
Yeah,
the
I
only
think.
thing that would make it even better is like if for some reason they end up announcing a cross save. That's it. That's all you would need at that point.
bro.
Would you guys would have lost your mind if you figured out there was new combos in the game?
No,
Uh,
I didn't know
No.
because the thing is with the one thing that I've come to appreciate having at least had the Ninja Turtles collection is that most of these companies are thankfully, thank God, like aware of certain things that certain countries fans are missing, right? So when I say that, it's like the Ninja Turtles, or even for the Capcom Fighting Collection 1, right? You had the option to pick between which version of the game you wanted to play.
yes.
Did you want to play it in English? Did you want to play it in the Japanese release? Did you want to play it with this patch? Did you want to play it unpatched? And I think when you have those options, it still kind of gives it a breath of fresh air of like, this is still new to me because now I'm getting access to something that I literally did not have access to in any other release of the game.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So to me, I'm like,
Okay.
I think the fact that they neatly bundled all these different versions, and to your point, Jory, they did include new content. Like I said in the chat, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter is getting Cyber Akuma as a playable character.
Yes.
That wasn't the things you could do before.
Also, X Men:
Yeah,
Children of the Atom, Magneto and Juggernaut are playable.
are
They
playable,
were
and
not
before they
originally
weren't.
playable.
Hmm.
Mm,
So essentially, you're getting new characters for some of these games.
To an
okay.
extent. To an extent.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean, like unlocked characters,
Yeah.
playable versions of
If
characters.
I'd love the fact I would love if the move sets from Children of Adam all made it all the way into Marvel vs. Capcom, because there's some move sets that's not in that Marvel vs. Capcom version. That's a
Yeah,
nerfed version technically.
but
So
I think it was more like a sprite issue at that point. Like
Yes.
some of
yeah,
those sprites, because remember at that point everything was literally pretty much hand drawn, and you could
yeah,
tell, especially when it got to Marvel vs. Capcom 2, like yo, that Thanos sprite looked a little crazy in comparison to like
yeah. It does.
like
Yeah.
it just looks dated. So
Hmm.
I think it was just like some of the sprite transfers just got a little wonky. 2, 3, 4 games
So
later.
no sprites update, right? The sprites are gonna look exactly the same as you remembered it.
From what they've announced so far, the only thing that they've announced for a fact is they're going to reduce some of the strobe lighting effects from Marvel vs.
Hmm.
Capcom for people who are photosensitive. Like
Yes.
there's like this like a collision effect when you hit, like it just sparks, and they've dialed it down for people who are sensitive or seizure prone
Hmm.
for that
Oh,
game
okay.
specifically. Like a
That's
filter
wild.
was added. Um,
Infinite Sekiyomi. Wow.
yeah, but because the thing is, like, I think Capcom has like unashamedly said, like, "Yo, we're not going back to sprites. Like, it's too much work. We're not doing that anymore. And under no circumstance will we be going back to 2D sprites. It's over." So I think it's still in line with
Like,
with
I
that.
mean, there's got to be a way to make sprites like a filter. You make it. How does Guilty Gear do it? Like
So they don't use sprites.
they don't, but it looks drawn.
Well, yeah, you're still rendering it.
Yeah.
You're still rendering it, but that's a different. Like, you have a wider range of motion when you're rendering a 3D model
Yeah.
versus
No way.
here's Ryu
And
punching. Here's Ryu uppercutting. Frame 1, frame 2, frame 20.
yeah, no, that's ludicrous. But there's people that. I mean, I'm saying all I'm saying is this. Uh, I think I would assume sprites will be solvable by now, right? It'll be easier to make sprites because of the technology we have. But I guess I'm wrong. Um,
Well, Jory, you also got to really look at it, bro. Like that. Yes, I do believe that technology is available, but you remember these companies, they're trying to save resources, bro. So they just want something that is palatable, concrete. And when I say concrete, is because they know the online is where people are going to really care. Because to be
Right.
honest, bro, this just solidified Sony's evil run for many, many years. You
Oh
about to
yeah.
see Marvel versus Capcom 2 as a legacy title for a while, bro. Like
you don't think,
that
man?
is not leaving. That is not
They
Hmm.
couldn't
leaving.
get back the original artist, man.
What original artist would you want to come back?
For the one who did the artwork for Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
I like the new art on this one
It's
personally.
cool. It's cool, but I just think this the other artist has a unique finish to him, and especially seeing him in his later years, he would be on a different level. And it would just have been nice for it to see him return. But the new
Now,
work is not bad.
now, actually, no, that's too far fetched. Yeah.
What was the
Well, because
thought?
to be honest, I do feel like this particular game is going to get a lot of momentum due to X-Men '92, because you remember that
97.
was 97, yeah, that was the
We don't want the
peak.
world actuallys in our
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
comments.
You know what I mean. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, because that was the peak of the some of these characters, their designs. Like I'm looking at Iron Man, War Machine, even how Spider Man does his little hunching thing. Like that was the peakness, and then even the Magneto designs is like that was heavily
Man,
inspired by that particular time frame.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. There's no other
Now,
way. Look, you see Iron Man? There's no other way to make Iron Man in my
now,
mind.
I do believe that this is going to really be the template for Capcom versus SNK 3. Now, and I do feel it's going to open up opportunities for that. I mean, I was hoping maybe like another Marvel, but then the way Disney has been acting with this property, I don't see it for coming. And then, the way Capcom
For
is
real.
doing
Look at the
work.
artist, man. You see
Y'all
the
better
art?
count your
That junk is
blessings.
fire. That junk is
Well, I
fire.
mean, Jory, to just a quick aside, on the website they actually have the PNGs and high resolution of all that art, so you can still get it in that quality if you want. It
Mhm.
just won't be new. But you were
Oh,
saying something.
okay.
Yeah. So I mean, and I'm really looking forward to this, man. This was a real good thing. Even the Punisher beat 'em up game, like after seeing experiences like Streets of Rage and the Ninja Turtles game, I was like, okay, this you play as Punisher and Nick Fury, okay, let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow, a genius, right? That team up makes so much sense. I'm like, man, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they would. Like, why wouldn't they?
yeah.
Like,
Why wouldn't they, right?
yeah. I guess in terms of like as we're rewatching the trailer, was there anything that you guys feel like was a missed opportunity with this announcement? I mean, I'll say when like I saw the notification hit my YouTube and I dropped in the chat, I was smiling the entire day. I'm like, I cannot believe that I don't have to go
Oh,
buy an arcade cabinet to play Marvel's Capcom 2.
I was very
yeah,
surprised there was no Xbox release. So I was like,
Good
yeah. Me
point.
too.
Good point. Good point.
Um, I
Good
don't
point.
know. I have no explanation. Microsoft does what Microsoft does. So
because
Bro,
the
I don't know,
no,
but
Capcom,
no,
because
no
the reason,
Xbox port was trending on Twitter.
no, the reason why I'll tell you why it happened. I know why.
the Capcom Fighting Collection, the first one is available on Xbox. So, and they said Capcom Fighting Collection has now become a series. So technically, this is Volume 2.
Mhm.
And of course, we already know what Volume 3 is. We already know.
But before, well, I guess, do you feel like we'll get? I think we would get Tatsunoko versus Capcom in Volume 3, right? Like, why not?
No, no, Capcom versus SNK is going to be Volume 3.
No, I know. Like, but in addition to Capcom versus SNK, like, why not throw Tatsunoko versus Capcom into that? Like,
Well,
it
actually,
it wouldn't warrant its own release.
it's possible. I would not throw it away. Because I do feel, because actually, yes, that would be the first time that people outside of Nintendo are able to experience this property.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel like Sony, like not Sony, I do feel like Capcom will open up that market. I do believe so.
It's a great way to incentivize sales.
I do kind of feel that they probably would have to label it something different because I realize this one is called Marvel versus Capcom Fighting
Fighting
Collection.
collection. Mm-hmm.
Now, if the next one is called Capcom Collections 2, then I do foresee like, all right, maybe Capcom versus SNK, Capcom versus SNK 2, then Tatsunoko just to add it, put it all together, because I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that they're just gonna make something entirely separate just for that.
Yeah, and this is
Yeah,
before we get.
that makes sense. That
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Yeah, that
Now,
makes sense.
I do believe this might open up an opportunity for them to redo the netcode for Ultimate Marvel 3, even though that was technically a PS3 port. Because
I was gonna say.
people have been saying it, bro. Like this netcode, like because people love Ultimate Marvel 3, bro. They love it.
Mm, I
They
was gonna
abs-
say, I think what this does is it buys them time, right? Like obviously Capcom is in its renaissance era of like every remake they've done, every remaster they've done is just turned to gold. Uh, this is just setting up in my mind for Capcom Fighting Collection Volume 3, the 3D era. Like right now we're getting all the 2D remasters, but we
uh,
listen,
I
Street
don't,
Fighter
I don't, I
EX and
don't.
Street Fighter EX2 was a thing. Graphics, were horrific, but those were a thing. I remember them seeing at the arcade, like, see Ryu and Ken in 3D and 3D
Hey, and
ranges
they
of movement,
and
and
yeah, and Shin
man,
Bison is
yeah,
real. Shin
yeah,
Bison is what inspired Bison now. That's Shin Bison moves that you feel me?
that is an era.
Shin Bison special, man.
We'll see. We shall see, said the blind man.
My question following up with this is, why do you guys feel, in your opinion, like, what is it about the Marvel vs. Capcom franchise that always seems to like hit for people? Like, what is it that you guys felt like? Why is it that anytime something like this is announced, people are just like, yes?
It's the nostalgia, bro. It's the nostalgia that is connected to our youth. This was a very pinnacle moment in our lives. In our lives, bro. And then it's still one of the best gaming histories ever. Because sometimes we wish that future properties actually cared about like how things were with this particular one, in terms of like how Jory said, the art style, the combos, the package, everything that was really put together in it that made this game solid, bro. Like and you and I keep saying it, bro. Ultimate Street Fighter 4's roster is still undefeatable,
Mm-hmm.
undefeatable,
Mm-hmm.
because literally that was Capcom's biggest return to the Street Fighter franchise. And then now we got two installments later that is still like in
When
this
when they
limbo
dropped
like
the HD
world, bro.
remaster of that Capcom Collection Fighting 4 of Ultra Street Fighter 4, that's when I right off to the sunset with Street Fighter games. I'm good. I don't need
Uh,
anything else.
I mean, Ultra Street Fighter 4 was already ported to the PS4, and
Eh,
like they said, the netcode was horrible. I
right.
do feel like if you're just gonna do that, just update the netcode, bro.
Yeah, that's
'Cause-
all. That's what I'm saying. Just give me some solid robot netcode. That's it. They would just port it one more time, and I'll all right, y'all boys, and y'all enjoy Street Fighter 7 and beyond. I'm
Y'all
good.
funny.
I have
Y'all
what I
funny.
need.
Y'all funny. Yeah.
Give it the updated with the simple control setup that they have in Street Fighter 6 with the simple combos, and I ride out to the sunset.
yeah, because
You know,
because we've seen it, and the rollback update, netcode updates, bro. It works, bro. You just added probably like 5 years of life to these games, or probably even more. The
Yeah.
way things are available digital now. Like for example, it was a PS3 game at the time, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, bro. I bought that. And then the biggest seller was Robat netcode announced, and I was like, bro, I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And Blaze Blue Cross Tag got the update. Skullgirls has it. Like it's become such a standard now that if you even try to give us that old stuff, like bro, you are just done. Just done. Like yes, people will play it just because it's available, but yeah, bro, it's just it really opens up, man. And I was very happy to see that. So I mean, I'm really looking forward to it, bro. And then even just playing the older titles, I'm looking forward to that, bro. I remember, bro, like how much money X Men versus Street Fighter took away from me, bro, in
What?
quarters.
If it's anywhere near where I was, between that and Marvel vs. Capcom, I didn't play any other games at the arcade. Anytime I went to Boomers, where's it? Okay.
It's worth it. It's worth it, man, because people. Like there's just something about that era of like art style and gaming that is just like it is just such a timeless feeling, and I kind of feel like having that accessible to you is such beautiful. That's why even with SNK King of Fighters 13, they released a new updated version with rollback netcode, and that was the last time they used sprites.
Mm-hmm.
And people are still saying like, bro, that's still one of the best ones they've ever had.
Yeah.
13, right?
Yeah, 13, bro. And it's like
Yeah.
it's just there's just something about that era, bro, that is just so undefeated. Like, and I kind of feel like that's what made And there's ways to update these things. A perfect example would be the beat 'em up Streets of Rage 4. Like you could tell, it's a new art style. It's a
Mm-hmm.
much more updated on that type of template, and it looks beautiful, bro. It looks
Mm-hmm.
absolutely beautiful. Yeah, the Ninja Turtles one, it was good. I kind of wish they would have probably took the little art style a little bit more,
Yeah.
but it works. It works. It connects because it connects with the inner child. It really does. It connects with the inner child and it delivers.
Yeah, with a little
It's
bit of modern flair, addresses some of the issues we had with the games as a kid, and you're just like, this is
I think
beautiful.
ultimately. Go ahead.
No,
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 that, that's
no,
all I
no.
was
You
gonna
go.
say. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
I think what really, 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 really helped Marvel versus Capcom was the fact it was on the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast. Well, no, let me finish. When it dropped on the Dreamcast,
Mm-hmm.
think about it. The Dreamcast had games. You had Sonic, right? Of course, it was Sega, right? So you had, like, it was like the innovation. Games were changing for the better around that time. The ideas, the experiments, like Space Channel 9, right? Space Channel 5, right? The dancing game, right? Who would have thought, right? But you still had a level of innovation that was coming out of Dreamcast. A lot of the games were super creative, right? A lot of things were experimental, but they worked. Power Stone Wars, and you just keep going. Like there was a whole endless Code Veronica. Like this transition of gaming, the games that were coming out were so unique and so much of a staple that by the time you had this crossover, it exploded. Right? You had the build up already, man. Like, yo, okay, Children of Adam. And then, yeah, well, we try the Children of Adam, X-Men versus Street Fighter. You mean I get to play as Captain America? Like, and you're looking at Captain America through the vision of Capcom. And it just worked, right? That's one of the golden ratios of the of reason why in a fighting game aesthetics matter, because now you basically conjoin both aspects and they turn into this entity and you get a Marvel versus Capcom, right? Because you didn't ask for it. The music is slapping, right? The gameplay's fun, but and not only that, but it's crazy. The optic blast is a Kamehameha beam. It bleeded into our fantasies. Like, yo, Ryu's doing a Kamehameha. This is crazy. Like, these characters are unhinged, right? Now Wolverine doing the Berserker Claw. Like, he's swiping. Like, he's moving like how we desired him to move. From how we always wanted Wolverine to move. We always wanted him to move that way. Go ahead, Tim.
You also realize in this poster, it's like they're happy to see each other. Like when you look at the people that they're linked up with, it's like
Mm.
that you feel some form of camaraderie. Like almost like remember that scene from Predator when Arnold Schwarzenegger like dapped up old boy. It's
Did it? Oh,
like it's like,
dog. What?
and that's how you feel when Cyclops and like right because I did kind of feel like bro when Marvel 3 came out, it's like wait, so who's Ryu's counterpart? And it's Wolverine. It felt
It's
weird.
not.
It felt weird,
It's
bro.
weird.
It felt
Yeah,
weird,
right.
bro. But then
I felt like, yeah,
like
exactly.
look at
Right.
Thanos. Look at Thanos and Bison too. Like they're very stoic characters who are looking away. And then of course, look who at the top. The two biggest dictators.
Mm-hmm.
You
It's
mean Bison and Akuma?
oh yeah, yeah,
Akuma and
yeah.
Thanos.
Thanos and Akuma. Yes.
Thanos and Akuma. Yeah,
Mhm.
the
But
boogeyman of their world. You feel me? And no, and like to finish, it's those things were some of the. It was like you pulled in two worlds that didn't know that they ever would meet,
yeah,
and they met.
it's a lot of things that like you're right. I think it's a lot of things where it's like I don't know why this works. It shouldn't work, but it's working. Like you guys said, it's like I don't know why Ryu and Cyclops dapping each other up works, but it does. I don't know why Spider-Man having a flirtatious storyline with Morgan works, but
I
it
got
does. Yeah,
because
yeah,
remember
right.
she's a
But
succubus.
oh, right,
She's a
right.
succubus.
But my question then, Jory, is still like, how does that tie into the Dreamcast port specifically? Because I'll say
Well, it,
from my
it came on the
experience,
Dreamcast first. It like
yeah,
these
it
games.
did, but then it got ported to PlayStation.
No, which was years later. It didn't happen right away.
Because
You
like
got
to
to keep that in
me,
mind.
like one of the things that I can only speak for myself, right? Is like growing up, I probably knew 2 people with the Dreamcast. Like
You did, but
Nah,
that
bro.
just
No,
yeah.
no, trust me. Dreamcast, like, all right, when I say this, Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, and Dreamcast was a very pinnacle moment for a lot of people in gaming's, bro.
for
Yeah,
sure.
it was a weird transitional period, especially
Especially the
that.
Genesis. The first 3D Sonic we got was on Sega
Yeah,
Genesis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
it's not. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, go ahead.
but it was the pinnacle point of like a lot of people's lives because, like, yes, around that time it was either the PlayStation, the one of the Sega games, or like any Nintendo thing that you had available.
Hmm.
And remember, like back in the day, like certain games were available on certain things, but it wasn't that competitiveness of like you felt like you were missing out because you always knew somebody with it. And
Right.
it was just such a like a very interesting, like how Joy said, it was just an interesting transfer point of gaming, of
Mm.
how we went from that to the hardcore PS2 era, which it was literally like such a staple thing in our minds. And then, of course, yes, when it was ported to the PlayStation 2, it just cemented the future in everybody's lives, bro. It really
Mm.
did.
Because it's at heart, it's not a PlayStation game. It's a
Yeah.
Dreamcast game. Street Fighter Third Strike is a Dreamcast game. Sonic Adventure Battle 2, Dreamcast game. A lot of these games that came over later, Dreamcast born, Dreamcast died. Power Stone War,
Yeah,
Dreamcast.
but that's what I'm saying. Like the reason why I said thing about the Dreamcast is like with Dreamcast, like I feel like there's a couple of staples that come to mind immediately, right? So like I think of Dreamcast, I think of the Sonic Adventure series, I think of Power Stone, I think of Shenmue, right? I think of
Shenmue,
right
Ready
of
to
those
Rumble,
right those kind of games. I don't initially my mind doesn't
Soul
initially
Calibur.
associate Marvel vs. Capcom with the Dreamcast, but not necessarily because I associate with PlayStation. It's because I associate with the arcade. Like I associate with
No,
walking into an
Actually, that's the
arcade and
reason
seeing,
why. Because
whoa, what is this?
it's because of like, all right, and I would say this on a westernized point. It was because of the arcade scene. A lot of people, we didn't really, if you didn't really have a Dreamcast, because I also really get it. Like the Dreamcast marketing at the time was it was very hit or
It
miss
was
for certain.
spotty. Yeah, you didn't know what it was, who was appealing to.
But then that was also when the Dreamcast started to fizzle out. That also introduced a heavy port history, and
Mhm.
that's
yeah,
where when I think that's what Jory was trying to connect it to. Like, all right, when the port history really hit the PlayStation 2 era, and remember, PlayStation 2 was the new Japanese golden child.
Mm-hmm.
So that changed everybody's viewpoints about accessibility, but technically that's not where it first was. But you
Right.
wouldn't know.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, so
And,
I get where he was coming from as he was talking about it.
yeah, because like I mean, yeah, the Dreamcast was fizzling out, but I knew what a Dreamcast was. You get what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
felt the impact of a Dreamcast, and the Dreamcast, spiritual successor, and I kind of wish they kept that energy. Was the Xbox? You know what I'm saying? Because the controller, those were patents. That was the next system for the Dreamcast before what they did happen. That's why the
Mm.
Xbox controllers are similar
Mm.
as far as design. The Xbox, the slots were for the original Duke. If you look at them, they're very similar. But what the Dreamcast had some of the craziest games, but like the
Yeah.
craziest
Crazy.
game. Then
Literally
people,
crazy taxi.
yeah, Crazy Taxi, and
Simpsons
then
Hit and Run.
all of that. A lot of those things transferred to the PlayStation. So a lot of that
Yeah.
success, those ports. That's why I was like, I'm like, yo, listen. Believe it or not, this game still came out for the Dreamcast. It just was fizzling out
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because everybody was able to burn it. Right? They
Yeah.
did. They just didn't think. But between that and the arcade, of course, the arcade was kind of like what PC is today. Of course, right? You know what I'm saying? Now I get to play this game free of charge, and I love this game. The arcade introduced me to it, and
Mm-hmm.
when I found out it came, I'm like, yo, listen, my cousin got the Dreamcast. I'm gonna go under that Genjutsu right now.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Every time, so. whenever that's what at that time there was just so much of that going on. It bled into the when the storm, the tornado finally touched ground. That's what you got. You got a Marvel versus Capcom. We didn't know we needed it, but we needed it, right? Because we were in love with the X-Men. We were in love. Comics was still popular. That aesthetic that Jim Lee created with the Marvel characters was still top notch. Wolverine was Wolverine was still a mystery
Yeah, he
weapon, but
wasn't. He,
now
he wasn't
you know what I'm saying?
oversaturated the way he
He
became
wasn't
with it. Yeah,
oversaturated, and now you get to see your favorite Iron Man suit, War Machine. You get to unlock these characters. You get what I'm saying? Like that the attachment came to like, yo, how do we get to Master Sentinel? How do we get to this? How do we get Juggernaut? Oh, okay, do this, do that, do that. The attachment and the achievement of getting these characters. Oh, yo, you get to play as Doctor Doom? How I get Doctor Doom? How do I unlock Doctor Doom? Did he get unlocked from the start? You know, Cammy's in this game. Cammy's in this game. The surprises. You didn't know what you was gonna get. Right? So now you have this attachment, your achievements, your hard work, your effort, and everybody experienced that on their own lonesome. So of course now we carry that, and now with Marvel vs. Capcom, and then the gameplay was crazy. These characters were unhinged. They moved like they were in a different, like in an anime.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
it was like, look at Spider-Man. That version of Spider-Man, if he translated into nobody got more hands than that Spider-Man. That Spider-Man is defeating you. He's going to be in One Punch World and give Garo problems. That's how skilled that Spider-Man. The moveless. Web ball. To this day, I see my homie. We do a handshake. We dap each other up. We do the Spider-Man swing. It's too iconic, right? Or we do the team, team, team. Let's go, bub. And when he defeats you, rookie. Or when Doctor Doom defeats you, he walks up to you, pull out the chair, and all Doctor Doom starts laughing at you. These things were like, chef's kiss. Magneto. Magneto's moveset. Like, that's another thing to add on. The expression of these characters. Psylocke, the little drill. Nobody asked for that, but you got it. Psylocke in a Gambit 52 pickup. You hear the specials, the name of the specials, and you're at school, you throw a pencil or you get some Uno cards, you throw it at your friend. 52 pickup, and you just going. It's too integrated. It was integrated when we played at school at lunch. We're pretending that we these characters, and now we have a visual representation that resonates with us in our minds because that's how Spider-Man's supposed to fight. That's how Wolverine's supposed to fight.
Right.
That's how Gambit's supposed to fight. And you get that. Look at Cyclops is a problem. That's how Cyclops is supposed to fight. And then you're done. And that's it. Jean Grey, all of these Rogue, come on, Iceman.
And you know what's so funny? There was a clip on Twitter where when they were from X-Men '97, Cyclops took off his bands and he did a hit like a big Kameo wave optic blast, and people was like, "So Marvel versus Capcom," and look what releases literally like 2 to 3 weeks right after that.
Yeah.
So I do feel like, you know what, they were building up marketing for this. I do feel
like I said in the chat, I'm like, all that's missing, literally all that's missing is a Dotemu specifically produced remake of the X-Men arcade game, and the cipher is complete. That's it. That's all we need. Everything, like the X-Men revitalization would be complete at that point. You would have all the nostalgia you would need to reintroduce the X-Men to the modern day group of kids at this point. Because like you said, all the references are there. There's so many things that reference back to this era of Marvel heroes, specifically the X-Men. And I think one of the things that I thought about, like, as you guys were kind of recapping these things, I was like, this was one of those times where it was, you actually embrace the different versions of these games. Like, I remember, like, as a kid, I was like, dang, like, why is it that I can't play as Rogue in Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, but I can't play as her in X-Men versus Street Fighter, and I can play as her, like, and why can I play as Blackheart, in Marvel, like, it's just like, but it made those games unique in their own way. Like, they had their own unique systems of, like, even the crossover combination moves were different depending on the game you played. right? You play Marvel superheroes, they have the Infinity Stones, things that would kind of come back in Marvel. Like
Yeah,
there were just different
yeah.
gameplay mechanics in every single game.
And you know what? You know what kind of surprised me that I literally forgot about this, and it kind of makes Akuma this big figure in the universe. And X-Men: Children of the Atom, Akuma is in the game. He's a secret character.
Yeah.
So it's like so damn like wow. So Akuma is literally like this world traveling entity. And that's why like oh so that really makes why it's
Azura's
so much
Wrath.
sense why out of all the out of all the Street Fighter characters he was chosen for Tekken. It's like because he already has history
Mm-hmm.
of doing it. When I was looking, I was like, bro, he was in X-Men: Children of the Atom.
You know, Tim, you actually brought up to my. I was watching a clip of Street Fighter Alpha, and I feel like that's the best introduction I've ever seen for Akuma, as far as how they presented when he went to the island and they were looking for him. And Akuma's energy was so great they couldn't even move physically, and he was just touching the dolls, the wooden, Kempo dolls. I mean, I think the combat dolls, and they were just getting crushed. Some of them were exploding. And then he finally saw Akuma standing behind him, and Akuma goes into another dimension and vanishes. So when you pointed it out, I was like, "Yo, it's not canon, but it's actually true. It makes sense."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go watch that clip. Yeah, it's nuts, and that's in Street Fighter Alpha. That's what Akuma did. He split the island in half when he fought Ryu.
But not to rehash our previous points, but that's why Street Fighter is spinning the wheels of like, what is the end goal with this character? What are we doing?
It probably isn't.
Why is he? Why
Yeah,
is he
he's
seeking?
he's just a traveler, dog.
Yeah,
That's
like,
it.
why is he seeking the final fight? And every single
The
time
watcher,
he's
the
introduced.
watcher, he's the watchman. No, he's the watcher, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Okay. Any final thoughts on this the announcement before we move on, or just any closing thoughts on that?
This will be the only game that I pre-order this year.
I was gonna say this might be my first full price purchase of the year for sure.
Yeah.
Which feels blasphemous because like low key like Sun Wukong does look, or Black Myth Wukong does look pretty like legit. It does, but I'm like I don't know if I want it day one. To be honest,
no, not with. Trust me, bro. Anything open world ish, I wait 2 months.
yeah.
Let those 2 to 3 patches rack up.
Because I'm like, given how many times we talked about it, we legit started the podcast making fun of like not getting a release date for that game, and now it actually has a release date. It comes out in August, literally. I'm like, man, I almost feel like obligated because it did look fire.
Yeah, right.
I was like, day one, I'm like,
I'll do it. I want the company to succeed. I wouldn't mind. I mean, it got to be good, of course.
Now,
if I see the review,
I still do believe that there's going to be some form of announcement at Evo, because like honestly, this Evo is really going to show.
absolutely.
This Evo is really
Absolutely.
going to show like where a lot of these games are headed, and
Mm-hmm.
that's either good or bad.
yeah.
Because there's I hate to say but Mortal Kombat, even though she's a cameo character, Farah got delayed, and so she's looking like she's not being released until Takeda around like mid-July.
Tim, there was a reason why when I made that thumbnail clip of our discussion of Mortal Kombat, I showed the logo smoking and smoldering out the sky. It's over, bro. They are on their way.
Yeah, no. It's done. Y'all release Homelander and Omni-Man in the same game, and guess what? That was the internet's great, man. I can't wait to see these two go head to head. We got what we wanted.
Crickets.
No Twitter feed.
Hey, actually,
No trending on Twitter feed.
you know who's actually grown on me as I really got deeper into his gameplay? Cthulhu Quan Chi. He's actually grown on me. Like I saw some good clips of him, and I was like, wait, he could do that?
That's not good.
I know.
That's good for the character, but that's not good for the game.
Yeah.
And the thing that's crazy is like I've been watching some of the invasions ending.
That's
There's a lot of really
Quan
interesting
Chi,
lore
man.
there.
I'm sorry. That's Egyptian Quan Chi. Egyptian Quan Chi. Like his name should not be Quan Chi no more. It should be Pharaoh. No, I couldn't. I was like, yo, who casted this guy? I'm sorry. I'm like, yo, your name Quan Chi, man. I understand. Like, you feel me? Like, make him Mongolian or something. But like, dog, this is Egyptian Quan Chi, kid.
Yeah.
I saw the Mummy Returns, and I'm like, I said, dog, this is Quan Chi.
This is him.
Yeah,
This is
y'all boys. Y'all, and I had to say it because it was killing me. I said,
And we
okay.
still don't understand what happened to him when the spirit did.
took out his soul, a soul, part of a soul.
And now he's
His
Ermac
skin
in
turned to
Ermac.
ash. Yeah, I don't know. But I was gonna say, like, if you guys have been keeping up with the invasions cutscenes, like, there's a lot of really good lore concepts in there. Like, they just finished the reptile one where it's like Titan reptile. And the whole thing was like this whole thing where they go to there's an invasion of his people where it's basically an invasion of the body snatchers where they start
We
killing off
wrote,
people and taking their roles and
but we wrote a better story. Umaga, they use reptile and they summon Umaga. We wrote a better story. That story that they gave us, I feel like Mortal Kombat suffered because the story was booty and the gameplay did not.
yeah, I'm saying the story was not where the ball dropped. There was multiple droppings.
But that hurt.
Multiple.
That hurt it. That hurt though.
Oh
Right?
yeah,
Like,
of course.
yeah.
Of course.
But
But we don't gotta stay on that topic. It's just
Yeah.
I think, when Evo approaches, we'll kind of deeper dive into that. But I think Mortal Kombat, it's, as we said, the big three in terms of we're starting to see
pull out my
structures.
stand if you got him. Pull out my stand if you got him. Flatline. Pull out the stand. My goodness. No,
Yeah,
I'm
bro,
hurt, man, because I wanted this thing to be fire.
Yeah, me too. Who didn't? It was the most.
Yeah.
We were all three of us were on the hype train for that game over all the other games, and now we're just like, yo, you can get out of here at this point.
Yeah, it's Tekken and Street Fighter right now.
Yeah, that's it.
It's just Tekken for me.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, but Street Fighter's fire though, man. Like, I mean, I don't play it enough because life, man. I need to be a millionaire first before I can enjoy these games.
Right, and then it was Street Fighter. It's like, to be fair, there's a couple of things I feel like offline they could do a little bit better, to be honest. In terms of like what could still capture my eye at this point, Street Fighter's still in it for me. But
yeah,
Tim's right. Tekken is like one of one. It's the Kendrick Lamar of the gaming fighting game industry right now. Like there is no triumvirate. Like it's just one.
Boy. No, it's electrifying, man. Those, and I personally, these are the most interesting Tekken matches I've seen. I hate the footsies matches, man. I like the fact that people have to make a decision. Yeah. They have to go out. They have to fight. Like, I know people get mad at the heat system. I'm more of a defensive fighter.
I love it.
That's what I was saying. I said, yo, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all need this.
Mm-hmm. It added so much momentum and good crossovers. And when Tekken receives more quality of life updates, it's just gonna get better, bro.
Yeah,
it's just gonna get better.
They'll tweak it, they'll balance it, they'll certain overpower things, they'll scale it back, and it'll be fine.
And
they scale back my character, man. I was hot. Feng Wei. I don't feel like fighting a death by 1,000 cuts, man. I just want to beat you up. Like, I deserve them combos, man.
What were you gonna say, Tim?
I mean, like I said, man, Evo is really gonna determine a lot of things. Some people they're entering, their season 2 phase. Some people are, fizzling out of their season 1. And I'm also really looking forward to like what are just gonna be some new releases. It's about time for Arc System Works to get back into the fold, bro. Like, I remember, I still love them. They held it down for COVID, bro. They held it down. It's just right now, because Capcom is doing the right things. Capcom is like, oh yeah, you did good during the pandemic, but I'm trying to come back now. Because you can always tell there's been some weird, like, tension between them in terms of like their fighting properties, like them especially, because like
they need it though. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, man, there's good titles on the roster this year. I'm really looking forward to see what comes from it. But yeah, man, it's like, fighting games, they have the longest longevity now, as you can see. We got a cult classic and it's back. One prediction I do have is I do feel like Sega is going to make their grand return for Virtua Fighter.
At Evo?
No, for Virtua Fighter, like a trailer. A trailer.
Oh.
Yeah, because because like Virtua Fighter, the last one that they did, it did pretty good, man. People was very satisfied with that, And they've been doing real good with the patches, the quality of life updates. It's a solid game for a great. That was real pinnacle PS3 era fighting game. Like I was like, bro, this gameplay has held up that many years.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it's like chess, man.
Yeah,
Like it's chess, and then
yeah.
whereas Tekken is viewed as checkers almost. Well, I wouldn't say checkers, but
Tekken is almost like, I'm trying to think of a game that they keep changing the rules to.
Uno.
Uno to some degree, but I'm like, Uno definitely has a little. Yeah, no, Uno, because they made new versions of Uno. So like they made like different. It Tekken is more like Taboo.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the card game Taboo, where it's like at some point you have to update the words you can use, but there still
yeah,
has to have that same exciting flair to it. Of like the
yeah,
concept
yeah,
is still the
yeah.
same. The core is still always going to be there, but it's
Hmm.
like here's Taboo in 2024. Like that's what Tekken is. Like
Yeah,
it's able to stay like young and hip and fresh and all those other things, all those
And
buzzwords.
yeah, and Street Fighter is checkers.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Pick up and play. You and your
pick up
kid.
and play.
Everyone
Yeah,
can throw a
super. Yeah,
Hadouken. It's
yeah,
and
yeah,
you move on with your
yeah.
life.
yeah.
Virtual Fighter.
No, I think it's time. It's
It's not
definitely
for
time.
me because again, remember when we talked about aesthetic? Them characters, dog, unappealing, flat,
I
no
love it.
fizz.
I love
I
it.
don't think it brings enough
No,
uniqueness to the table
you
nowadays.
no, but
That's
that's
just where I'm
great,
at.
right? But yeah, it's just it doesn't. If it had great character models, then it would be
No,
fine. But
but
it
see,
just doesn't work.
this is the part where like Sega has really shown that they're listening and they're really ready to come back. And like, remember when Sega released that little trailer and we saw like new updated stuff or like stuff that they're about to make?
Hmm.
Remember, Virtua Fighter was missing for a reason because they're watching, bro. They're watching and they're being very strategic. So yes, this might be the pinnacle point where they're saying like, yes, we're ready to raise the bar.
I just don't see how Virtual Fighter makes a solid comeback without some type of mechanic that stands out. In my opinion, every
No,
game
that's
has
true.
something.
That's
It needs
true.
something. It would need something new other than grounded, realistic, balanced combat. That's
Either
not
you
going to
gonna
get it done.
steal, either you gonna steal from Dead or Alive and take the counter system.
Yeah, it needs
Something.
something. Yeah, it needs something because like for as ranging in quality as they are, Tekken needed the rage arts. You needed it. Like Tekken needed something to kind of give it that oomph. You don't. To me, you don't even get the heat system without the rage arts. Like
Yeah.
it has to build from something. And I feel like Virtual Fighter, like other than bringing like we're bringing back grounded combat, like that's not going to get it done today. You need dynamic stage transitions, like Jory said,
And
a
I,
counter system, some type of
the
hyper combo.
slow motion attacks where you guys see that you miss and it's legit. Like I would say 75% of the time it's a legit hit. Like I legit got hit in slow motion. He legit avoided it, and I saw how the anticipation was crazy because
Yeah.
both of our life bars. And I feel like that adrenaline is like, man, woo, that fight was probably my favorite fight, and I'm going to sleep charged up. You know what I'm saying? After a long day's Tekken is just too much things work for Tekken, man.
Yeah. Virtual Fighter is gonna need some. I don't know what that thing is, but I'm like it coming back as like a 1-for-1 is not gonna work. It won't. It won't. It needs something.
No, and I agree, and I have faith that the innovation will be there. Grand Blue, they released 2B, so you already know what them gameplay clips gonna look
My
like,
mind is blown at how she's taken off in terms of popularity. I don't get it.
bro,
I don't understand.
bro.
Maid dresses, man. Once they hit a maid dress, man, I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
I don't
For me,
understand.
it's 2B and who else? The chick from Ruby. How, kid?
No, bro,
Yeah.
it works. It works, man, and that's why I tell people all the time, like. Outside of Marvel vs. Capcom and Capcom versus SNK, the next world like bending like tag fighter. Like yes, if they do it right, if they like make sure they do it right because they have a very infamous history. But I tell people all the time, Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle had so much potential, bro. When I dove into that for COVID, bro, I was like, bro, this was like it was tickling stuff in my brain. Like this feels so familiar.
Arc System Works is gonna have to get out its own way with that franchise.
Yes. They would.
That's like
They would.
that that whole thing that they keep doing those rosters and every like new version. I'm like that.
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop giving me a game with 12
Yes,
characters and telling me like this is the one. No,
yes, kid.
no.
Yes, please, dog.
Yeah.
Cause dog,
Yeah.
that joke is
No,
bad.
but and no, you're absolutely right. Once they get out there, but I was like, bro, that had so much potential, bro.
Yeah.
Like I had to give that game its props, bro. Because even when I re-uploaded, I was like, bro, like this really, it was that Marvel versus Capcom itch for COVID. Like it
Mm.
really scratched it. I was like, bro, this was very great. Like when I was playing the Ruby characters, I was like, bro, like wow. And then every Ruby game after that has not just touched
Well,
that.
yeah, because I mean, rest in peace, Monty Ohm. Like, what do you do without the creator?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? Right? Like, it's at some point, it's like, yeah, of course, every creator has his team, but there's a figurehead. You don't get the Ruby character designs without the creator, right? It's like what we've already spoken about this in length in the chat. Like, we're dreading whatever comes next for Dragon Ball because without Akira Toriyama, it's all down. It's all Dragon Ball heroes from here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like with Ruby, it's like it got snuffed out, unfortunately, due to his unforeseen passing before it's really going to get its legs underneath itself. Because you just need that figurehead. You need it. So I guess in terms of our last topic for the night, and for anyone who's watching or listening, massive, massive, massive spoiler alert if you're a One Piece fan at all and do not read the manga and you're not up to date. This would be the time to skip ahead. If you're watching, if you're listening, fast forward a little bit. If this is the time you clock out, hey, thanks again for listening. But fellas, in the most recent chapter of One Piece, it was revealed that Jewelry Bonnie, one of the supernovas of the pirate era, has been able to successfully replicate Luffy's Gear 5 powers. The fans are already calling her the Joy Girl to Luffy's Joy Boy. The Sun Goddess Nika, too. And it's to give a little bit of context, it was foreshadowed in previous chapters. For those that don't know, they gave a little bit more context to how Bonnie's Devil Fruit powers works. She has the age fruit, which when we saw her pre-time skit, she was able to age herself up or make herself a kid, even though she herself was about 10 or 11, maybe 12 years old. And she has the power to do that to others. So she can turn an old man young, a young man old, people to babies, so on and so forth. She also has the power of what's called the distorted future, which allows her essentially to use the power of her imagination, for lack of a better terminology, to envision something for herself and then mimic the power. So there was previous chapters in which you saw her using Luffy's Gear 3 to enlarge her fist after watching him do it, because she imagined a future in which she's able to replicate the Gum Gum Fruit power. Now she's taken it to the next level and has been able to replicate it on a level to make herself also replicate Gear 5. What do we think, guys?
It's interesting. I just feel they need some boundaries because the power of imagination can get very plot armor-ish and confusing at a certain point. We've seen it, like with the guy from Bleach, the one who was fighting King Pachi. It's cool. I mean, I like the fact that they brought Bonnie back into the fold, bro. Because when she had that issue with Blackbeard and the Admiral came, and I was like, "Whoa, damn!" Like out of the supernova, she got taken out quick. So I'm
Right.
glad she's
I
back.
love the buy.
I'm glad she's back. Even with her, her backstory with Kuma. So like, it's been great build up. Like,
Is
it's a
that her
very
dad?
Yeah, her adoptive father.
yeah. So it's a very
It
interesting
don't
story.
matter. I don't care.
It's a very interesting story. I just hope that it just doesn't get too out of whack. I mean, I understand the chaos of what's happening right now in this particular
I was about
arc.
to say, Tip, this seems a little.
No, but
The
that's the thing.
line
That's
is
the
right
thing. But
there.
that's the theme of this arc, bro. Because like, remember they said we in the final stages, so everything is chaotic right now, bro. Yeah, you got these demon. You got these demon
Demon
devil.
awakening elders. Yeah.
Yeah, and because like what, bro? Like when I found out they're all yokai, I was like, bro, that makes sense. They are Japanese demons, and they are at the head. And of course, who might actually be.
One of them, Blackbeard.
Yeah, so
Or the
like,
descendant of whatever, some special tribe, yada, 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 that allows him to be the chimera that we think he is, and so
yeah,
on.
so yeah, so it makes a lot of sense, man. And I'm really enjoying the build up. Because even what Vegapunk did with the Seraphim, like how like he's able to mix fruit powers through the green blood. Like
Bro, they're
when I
so
when,
broken.
when I saw Mihawk do Daz Bones' when Zoro saw that,
Steel fruit.
he
Yeah,
was
I'm
like,
like, fam.
no, because
What?
remember Zoro got
Wait,
chopped
wait,
up
wait,
pretty.
wait, 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 wait. Hold up. Say that again. Go back.
So
Hold on. I
there's
didn't
a
catch it.
Seraphim modeled after Mihawk. He
Uh huh.
has a sword similar to Mihawk, skills similar to Mihawk, but he also has copied devil fruit powers from Mr. One of Crocodile's crew, Daz Bones, the steel fruit. So he's able to use not only a sword, but his body as a living weapon.
Yes. Bro, when Zoro saw this,
A
because
pacifista.
Zoro had PTSD from that. He's like, what did you just do?
Yeah.
But it was so interesting. Like even when Frankie saw when he was looking at the
Jinbei's
this,
Seraphim
he's like,
with the
wait, he
Sim
could
Sim fruit.
swim?
Yeah.
Because remember they said the only time when the devil fruit power like somebody new could get it is when the past person
Somebody dies.
dies.
Yeah.
But no, he was able to like. I think he said it only works with paramecias, like paramecias, and then
To
zoan
some
fruits.
extent, Logia. Yeah, Zoans, but he
Zoan
can't do
fruits,
Logias at all.
they can't really fully duplicate because, yeah, but yeah, so paramecias. And then,
Yeah.
of course, Boa's little daughter has her powers, of course.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Kuma has his.
Which is also
So, like, but I was like,
broken.
bro, that
Super
makes so
broken.
much sense. Like, the dude is a walking sword.
But you don't feel like I feel like we're starting to get danger again. It's a line, right? It's a line to everything. It's a line to everything. I feel like we're getting dangerously
Yeah,
close
I,
to fan fiction at this point.
yes, I do. I do.
We're right
Yeah,
there,
dog.
bro.
However,
It's getting
I
crazy.
do feel like this is like the tail end of it because like yes, Vegapunk, mad scientist, like he created one of the first successful clones,
Yes.
and she's like a vampire. Because when I found out who she's modeled after, I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
That's her?
Yeah. Stussy from the Rocks Pirates. Yeah, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy. And she's still alive, which is even wilder.
Yeah. So like it's all
Oh,
mad.
the Rocks Pirates, the rivals of um Gold Roger.
Yeah. Well, they're not really rivals. He was like the original like pirate, essentially. Like
Yeah.
from his crew, birthed the emperors. Like
Yeah.
Kaido, Big Mom, Stussy,
So
Whitebeard were
who?
all
So
under
who's the
his
leader?
crew.
Who's the
Rocks.
leader?
His name is Rocks.
Is he still alive?
I think he's died because when they show the flashback, all of them are significantly younger. Like Kaido and Big Mom are like in their 20s.
Yeah.
And it's known by this time in the story they're in
Did they show Rocks?
the typical One Piece outline
Oh, okay.
where you
So
can
But he
see
looked.
him but you can't see him type thing.
Got you.
So it's like, bro, like if these
And he
were
had
like
powers.
we don't know. They didn't specify like what his abilities were, but it's just like these were his crew members was
yeah.
Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido. It's like, bro, what?
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So but it does explain why those three particular emperors had respect for each other
Of
to a
course.
certain extent. Because the only one who was really out of the box was Shanks.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, Shanks is like a whole like
He's a new generation.
two
Yeah, he's a new
generations below
generation.
them. Because Shanks was part of Gold Roger's crew.
Yes.
So it's
They
like
don't acknowledge him on that same level as the rest
yeah.
of
So
them.
like you're
Yeah.
basically like, who is this kid?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, to an extent. So
But
yeah,
yeah,
bro. Like yeah, mad scientist stuff. So like. I think this is the end of it, though. I do.
it's just because I'm not as mad about the Joy Girl thing. I think the thing that it brings more into question, I'm like, again, if Luffy's supposed to be this essentially god devil fruit power, how is she able to mimic that to a T, right? I would imagine it should be significantly weaker than his version because How do
Um,
you mimic that through power?
I realized that from multiple properties. Remember when we were talking about morphs powers? Everybody has a weird. Everybody, I guess it goes back to the writing, bro. Everybody has a weird way of doing these mimic powers. That's why personally, I don't like mimic characters
Hmm. Hmm.
because I kind of feel like there is some type of plot armor to it, but then it's like what? But then it's not going to really get explained fully.
Yeah, they
It's
almost
just,
break the power system in
yeah, like
anything that
this,
they're
this
in.
like the same like prime example was when I was reading the manga of the Kenpachi fight. I was like, bro, he could do what?
Whatever he
What?
thinks. His only limit is his beliefs.
It's like so like I was like,
And
all
he
right.
couldn't believe he could beat Kenpachi.
At that point, bro, I was just reading it for the pictures, bro. Like scroll,
Yeah, for the
scroll,
pictures.
scroll, scroll,
Oh man,
scroll,
yeah.
scroll. Oh, he's dead. On to the next chapter.
No. Because for me, when I was reading that, I'm like, okay, so you got your watch, and then you got him. Why he not second captain?
Who knows?
And then the meteor, and he summoned the meteor. Like that, they always summon meteor. For me, Sephiroth should just be the Hokage Naruto kid. They
Like
summon, he summoned.
even like who was had confusing powers to me to an extent. The one that I guess it kind of is kind of like time distortion. The guy on the full bring guy, the one with the sword, like the one where he stabs
Oh
you and
yeah,
makes you kind of
his
like.
that was
So that's
that's
what I say, bro.
again.
Mimic
Yeah,
powers and time distortion. Just read it for the pictures. Read
I
it for the
think
pictures.
again. I think like I was saying in the chat. I think we're starting to see where it's like Japanese authors struggle when it comes to willpower and the power of imagination. They don't give enough detail of like how does this differ from anything else. Like if Grammy can imagine a meteor, if he can imagine Kenpachi in space dying from like from lack of oxygen to his brain, right? If Stars and Stripes can make a cloud version of herself that can grab a missile and hit Shigaraki with it, and now you have Bonnie who can just imagine herself having Gear 5 powers. It's like, bro, what are they just this is the most, like why would I this is the best devil fruit in this continuity at that point. Because I'll
read it
just
for the
look at
pictures.
yours
Read it for the pictures.
and take it. Oh, you could do what? Oh, you're a yokai? I'm a yokai now too. Now what? It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like
Read it for the pictures. Read it.
Wait, you Goku? Now
right.
I'm Goku too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know, man. That's wild.
Danger. It's like uh, between her using Gear 5, between I mean, granted, we already knew the elders had to have a broken devil fruit power. Like it just, it's the elderly male trope in any shonen. It's like they're the most passive, but when they show up, they're the most broken thing you've ever seen in your life because that's just how it works. It's fine, whatever. But it's just kind of like if the Seraphim are being introduced this late into the game and they're all types of broken, there's now like a Pacifista 3.0. They have bubble shields and like all types of like futuristic tech. It's like, bro, how is this? Is this leading to like Marineford Part 2? Like, where is all this building to? Because Luffy keeps, like, to a credit of something you said earlier in the previous pod, Tim, is like Luffy keeps running into characters that he has to use Gear 5 on. Like, it's not the bar is just like this person can do this, and this. Like, bro, like Gear 2 ain't getting it done no more. Like, it's just like if you don't know Advanced Conqueror's Hockey, GG, like good game. You got the paint.
And then
Nah.
and that's why I was saying people like after, especially the fight before this, like in terms of the Wano arc, like what new upgrades are the future people supposed to get? Because like yes, I already see it for now. Zoro is gonna get Conqueror's Hockey. That's
1000%.
that's a definite.
Yeah.
But then like all right, so these other characters like in terms of Usopp, like what's gonna be added to Usopp that
He
he's going to
needs
be.
Master Chief armor. He has to get Master
Well,
Chief
they've already
or
they've already hinted that he's gonna have observation hockey on the same level as Shanks, where he can essentially predict the future and what's about
Okay.
to
who
happen. Usopp.
Usopp.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
they've hinted
dope.
at it a couple times.
That's
So
dope.
observation hockey is what
The first,
Katakuri had, right?
the
Yes,
first one, yeah.
yeah, Katakuri, where he's able to show what Luffy's gonna do because they since these One Piece movies are canon but not canon but canon at the same time. Like, so in the One Piece film Red, him and his Usopp and his dad like link up on both realms, and they're able to see what the other was doing with observation hockey. So I'm like, okay, he's gonna get Katakuri powers. He's gonna get Shanks powers of like being able to like basically see what's about to happen.
And you already know Frankie is going to like be that spiritual successor to Vegapunk
Oh yeah,
in terms
I'm
of
sure he's gonna stumble across another blueprint and become like Super Frankie. Like that one's is like it's just a matter of when.
because
So
when I found out
we gonna play Riding theme song.
because when I found out the laser beams is based on when Vegapunk was studying Kizaru, I was like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah,
And the very thing that destroyed him too. And I was like, bro, that is such a full
a
circle moment.
poetic send off, bro. Like you study Kizaru and Kizaru's the one that ends you. It's wild. But I guess to like kind of wrap up this is like, do you guys feel like the Straw Hats all need to be on that same level
Yes.
at this point?
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
actually
I think
no.
there's room for that supporting role of like, I don't think they all need to be like God tier.
And when I say support, I mean Chopper, Nami. Actually, yes, Chopper, Nami, and Usopp. But I do feel like the rest of them need to be leveled up.
Sanji.
I mean, Sanji already got a power up.
Sanji,
What the armor?
The
Power Ranger
armor,
suit?
yeah, the armor that
Okay.
that from the suit.
Jinbei needs to be leveled up. I think Robin did get some new form when
Yeah, she's able to manifest her whole body now.
Yeah.
With her hands. It's not just her hands or feet
I
anymore.
do feel like whenever if she comes in contact with another Poneglyph, I do feel like she's gonna get something else.
Did she awaken her fruit already?
No, she hasn't.
So
It's gonna be wild, right?
So I do feel
It's
like
gotta be wild.
I do feel like
Yeah.
she's gonna get something. And who else is left? Brooke. Yeah, Brooke needs something, bro.
But the thing is, like low key, like if you look at the track record of the time skip, Brooke be scrapping, bro. Brooke, he when he faced off by Big Mom by himself, I'm like, yo, like, he's like, I'm not trying to be like y'all. I'm scared, but I'll scrap. I'll throw down. Like Brooke shows up.
You know who Brooke reminds me of? He's a rat trap. He's a rat trap. Like, yes, you don't really expect much from him.
He don't know about Rat Trap, man.
I mean, I do know about Rat Trap, but I haven't revisited the lore the way you guys have.
Those was the best episodes when he held it down by himself. Yeah. When they invaded the
base.
He did it 3 times. 3 times. The submarine. When they invaded the base.
Yeah.
You remember? Yeah, dog. 3 times, man.
Yeah. Like, that's what he reminds me of. But I just do feel like there's more that could be done with his soul powers. Because, like, I was thinking, like, yo, bro, you do have similar powers to the guy from Umbrella Academy, Klaus. So I do feel like there's something more with soul power that he could actually do. But yes, like, support characters, those 3, like, yes, of course. But yeah, it's time for a level up, bro. And then you remember, we also got to consider the fact, bro, he has a whole fleet out there. And you already know those people, they might have new abilities by the time they show back up. You never know.
True, but I mean, One Piece. We'll see one new attack, and then it'll go to another completely different panel. Like how One Piece is at this point. It's like you'll see something like, man, I would have loved to see more of that. Oh, never mind. Like that's
on the next episode.
Yeah, right? Like we just come to accept that about One Piece.
That tsunami wait time, boy.
Yeah, literally. Like of just like, oh, here's one new attack, and you're just like,
I do think Law is gonna have his awakening when he comes back.
He already has an awakening.
Huh.
He used it against Big Mom. That's how he beat her, where he's able to do the anesthesia sword. That's his awakening.
Okay.
What else could you do? He's able, so his awakening fruit, he uses it against Big Mom and he uses it against Blackbeard. He's able, when he awakens his fruit, he's able to project the room without being in it. That's part of his awakening. Okay. And then he could use that sword to stab you from a distance and damage your internal organs. That's his awakening fruit.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. I mean, what else would you do with a power like that? Like that's about as good as you can get to me. Like, what else would you want?
Sabo. What could they?
Yeah, he has Ace's fruit. He's definitely.
He needs Conqueror's Haki, bro. He needs some form of level up because he already has the first 2.
He does, but I think like I feel like in terms of like uh, that whole sect of group, they relied too much on Sabo. Like Dragon needs to get involved at this point.
Yeah, but you already know
Like
Dragon is gonna be a
yeah,
cheat.
like
Dragon
that's
is
what
gonna be a cheat code, bro. Like,
of
bro,
course, he's gonna be
you're
super
winning.
broken.
You're winning. Like
He's gonna be super broken. You're gonna see a cyclone descend to the battlefield, and there goes Dragon.
he's literally like how remember how the universe Six Saiyans brought back Super Bet Saiyan 1 and 2 and made it feel like so brand new again. He's gonna bring you that Logia, like, oh yeah, y'all been so hyped up about these Animorphs. But
Yeah, here's the return of the Wind God.
here's the
Like
ret-
just
here's the return of the
Tornado
Logias.
King. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
I
I
think
mean,
Sabo, you gotta. He's done enough already.
so y'all like where Vegapunk is going? Y'all liking the chapters now, or because it didn't start off too good?
I don't think it's gonna
You
be
don't think it's gonna be
remembered
your
as
favorite?
yeah. I don't. I think in terms of like to Tim's credit again from a previous pod, I think it's done a good job of giving us moments of like this was a cool moment, right? Of like Luffy one
What would
shotting
you equal
Lucci
it
is a
to?
cool moment.
Okay,
In terms of
it's better
arcs,
than Skypiea.
almost anything's better than Skypiea.
It's better. It's better than Is it better than Alabaster?
No, no.
Okay.
Alabastas might as well be the Frieza arc on Planet Namek. Like it's few things.
You can't fight that. Okay, you
It's
can't
hard
fight
to
that.
like
All right.
yeah. What would I put? It's kind of like, and I hate that I have to compare it to this because it's an easy comparison to make. But remember when they like stumbled across Caesar Clown's like laboratory with the kids?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's kind of like that. Where like
I hated
interesting
that
things.
arc.
No, right. Where I'm like, I
I
didn't
hated
really
that arc,
like that
man.
arc. Right.
It was too long.
It's not an arc that I look to revisit anytime soon. But cool things did happen.
It was too long.
Like cool things happened. Like we saw that like
Too
bro,
long.
like Law split Buddy in half. It was like
Yeah, but that yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Well,
cool things
Virgo.
happened. Yeah, he got him
Virgo.
out of here. You know,
Yeah,
so
but
like there was
it was too
moments.
long, man.
Yeah.
It was too long. I get what's that? Oh, I feel like I'm melting when I watch that. Just like when I was watching Skypiea, because there was things that was happening. Then it wasn't interesting. Then you realize Nami green. Nami's gonna lead them kids. I like, yo, this is why I never liked you, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then it was just too long. Then you had to deal with homie not having his head. Then
Yeah,
Vegapunk,
finding
like
his torso and
was
everything.
just like it was like, yo, get this guy out of here, man.
That's what it reminds me of to me. Of like, there's
Yeah,
these cool concepts. Like again, there'll be moments that will resonate well. But to what Tim and I were talking about earlier, it's just like you have all these things of like, here's the Seraphim. They got 3 devil fruit powers in their body. They got green blood. We still don't know why Vegapunk has 7 different bodies. Like what? We spent half the arc on Akuma backstory. Like I still don't know what's happening on this island, and it's almost over. Then you got, the elder doing the reverse summoning jutsu to summon the other elders to the island immediately with like, I'm like, bro, what is happening?
yeah. All right. So you telling me homie took from the last season of Attack on Titan, fused it with with not Virgo, but with the Vegapunk, not Vegapunk, what's his name, man? The other with the other scientist that was
Caesar.
experimenting on the kid, Caesar.
Yeah.
And then fused it with what, the Skypiea, a little bit of Skypiea.
A little bit of Skypiea, because a lot of like futuristic tech. But I think in terms of like lore building, it was
Man, bring back
like,
Inaru, man.
It was like when Madara got his sage powers and things were just happening just because.
Yeah.
When he's like, I can use Limbo World. They're like, Limbo World? What? Yeah, the Rinnegan has powers you never thought about. Like,
How did you even know that?
Oh man, some a 12-year-old wrote this, man. Next panel, you just changed the next panel.
Like I said, it's tiptoed that line a couple times during the arc.
Yeah, because when it came to Madara, and this is my one comment, is like, so you did eye surgery on a Uzumaki kid, and he just never knew.
Yeah. Yep. Never knew you put a whole Rinnegan in his eye.
2. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
means you
no, you're right.
basically,
Yeah.
so that means you basically took his eyes and you swapped him with yours. I was like, so the kid didn't wake up the next day feel funny that he has some old man's eyes.
Well, remember, Tim, you know how eyes work in Naruto. You can grab them out like it's a piece of candy and pop them in, and it immediately assimilates to your structure, to your eye, everything, right? Like Obito's Sharingan
It makes
was being
sense. It makes sense for an Uchiha to do it because right, they got the same blood, and then you can probably do a healing jutsu. That's why
Obito's
somebody
Sharingan eye was for the streets in the last couple of arcs
half
of
his body,
Shippuden.
half his body pressed,
Right.
cold
It
pressed
was in
under a boulder.
Kakashi's eye. Then it was in Zetsu's eye. Then it was in Madara's eye. It was just like it was for the.
Hey,
Then it came back from the mystical plane.
when Zetsu turned out to be uh Final Fantasy summoning, I was like, yeah, throw all of it away.
Yeah.
Like My Hero Academia, once they told me that they're continuing, he said he's going to continue more of the story. I said, no, shoot the entire manga, kid. Put a cloth, a pillowcase over it, and blast the manga, kid, in the back of the head. Cause I'm like, dog, it's done. Let it go. Like the Vegapunk, I had a feeling this would happen. I actually like Whole Cake Island. Because I was so in love with the start off and how they introduced Sanji's backstory, but when I think about it, a lot of nothing happened.
I hated that arc. I told you that. I told you
So
guys while it was happening. Y'all were defending me. I hated that arc the
I
entire
loved
time.
it though, man. I just but I could see why people don't. It's just people's least favorite though.
Yeah, I hated that arc.
Yeah, because
It was
bro,
a
it was basically a
whole
build up for them just to flee,
exactly
Yeah,
to flee,
yeah,
one big
yeah,
countdown to them running away. Keep it.
yeah.
and then she still came back and
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And when she fought, I didn't like it. Like it was so
all that just to
anticlimactic.
fight her in Wano. I'm like,
Mm.
If they had fought her and then she came back, would have been crazy.
right.
But yeah,
And then to end the arc with Luffy fighting and winning a fight he should have lost, I'm like, get this
man,
arc
that
out of here.
Yo, he lost he lost to the Dark Magician fused with Black Luster Soldier, and we just watched a Karibo take off. No Celtic Guardian take off on home. Like nah, dawg, yo, I was in disbelief. Though.
Yeah.
I really was like. I'm like, yo, you see what this man is doing to your Snake Man? It didn't do nothing.
But I guess to shoot at some bail, every single major shonen anime has that moment of the plot has to push the story forward.
Goku had one?
Of course Goku had one. What?
Give me one where Goku had one. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
To me, Goku, well, if you really want to be fair, the first time Goku had one was during the Dragon Ball arc. Literally Dragon Ball. When he fights Tao Pai Pai. And he just happened to get Dodon Raid in the exact pocket that had the Dragon Ball. Because otherwise the Dodon Raid would have killed him. But he had his grandfather's Dragon Ball exactly in the right place it needed to be for him to survive the attack. And that was in Dragon Ball. Like,
I'll take it because at the time there was probably nothing like that ever happened.
And then if you really want to go into it, right, you could use the Boo arc of
yes,
yeah, the Buu arc definitely. Yeah,
the specific moment
Super
for me,
Saiyan 3 out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere,
already did this against Vegeta.
Right. And
I
then,
was furious.
And then when he went to go try to fuse with Gohan, it's like, bro, the only reason why Boo didn't kill him was because the plot needed to happen. It didn't make any sense for him to be like, I'm going to sit back and let you all figure it out. Oh, he threw the Patera area and Gohan couldn't find it. Gohan,
a Super Saiyan, a superhuman kid that dodged bullets.
Right?
Yeah,
throw it to me, Dad.
Yeah.
Every shonen arc has it, bro. Every single anime has it, bro.
Piccolo bargaining. I guess it falls into the humor, right? So I'll give it some lead.
No, Piccolo's one I give a pass.
Piccolo bargaining with Boo. Give me 5 days and I'll give you the strongest warrior.
Yeah.
Most delicious.
I'll give that a pass. Yeah.
Okay. My Hero Academia.
Pick one.
I count.
But mine would be, and this is a manga spoiler for anyone who hasn't read the manga, when Bakugo dies. and the paper ninja revives him by sewing his heart back together with his body.
All right,
What are we doing?
and he's paper.
And he's paper. What are we doing?
Okay. Hey, man.
What are we doing?
The more you know. The more you know.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yo.
What are we doing?
Yeah, I know. All right. All right. Let's
let's wrap it up. I'm telling you, I could go all day. Every single series has that moment of like, the story just needed to happen, huh?
Bleach, Bleach, man.
Pick one.
Jeez. Oh,
Kenpachi versus Grammy. Mayuri versus the Hand of the Soul King. Did we remember? Did you forget about that? He had a contingency plan for his contingency plan.
Wait. That was the Grim Reaper demon, right? Demon guy, right? No, no. That fight should have. It was. What was the Grim Reaper the Spanish stand guy, the Spanish Hollow?
Which one?
Who turned into the Grim Reaper?
Oh, Berrigan. Yeah, that was the plot needed to happen. The plot needed to happen.
I was like, yo, this is the last boss?
Yeah.
Cause I'm terrified. I said, yo, it's over.
You could tell. I'm about to say it to you. You could tell that Kubo was probably like, I should have made him number one.
He's technically
but I've already gotten this far and I can't backtrack now. Like, fam, he's number 2 and he could do this.
Technically 3 because remember Yami confirms that
zero.
It goes from 0 to 9.
Yeah.
I was like,
please. And then where do you put Ukiura, who has a second awakening? Like, what is that? Does that make him super? What is that? He's 4, but is he 4 really?
But then Haribel has been confirmed to be the only Vasta Lorde, which they were trying to achieve.
Yeah.
But
every series has one. Every series has a moment of like the plot just needed to happen.
And then my thing about it is, I hope this last section of Bleach includes her because she's just in Wako Muna chained up to a wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they gonna launch the new Bleach arc? Is this still coming?
Yes. Okay. It's confirmed that he's still working on Hellverse. So.
And Chainsaw Man fell off.
Oh yeah. By the time we get season 2, bro, right now Mappa's working on One Punch Man season 3. And then we're getting Jujutsu Kaisen season 3 before we get Chainsaw Man.
Flatline season 3. That's what that is.
But they did their thing.
Flatline Man.
They did their thing with Jujutsu Kaisen season 2, so it's hard to say.
No, they did their thing with Jujutsu. You sure? Because Twitter was lighting them boys up, and I seen the Dragon Ball Z similarities. Cause I'm like, yo, who drew this episode? These are the same guys that drew Pain's episode.
Correct, but to be fair, they had also snapped the episode before. So it's hard to be like, if it had been 2 episodes of, like you said, the wonky drawing, then I'm like, okay, I'm with you. Right? And they did correct it for the Blu-ray and extended it as like an apology. But the episode before was top tier animation.
Okay.
Top tier.
Okay. So
it's just...
all right, man.
But yeah, I'll wrap us up. So once again, thank you, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody in between for tuning in to another episode of the Press Start Select podcast. I have been your host, Antonius the Gamer, once again joined by my 2 co-hosts, Mikkel Smith and Super SSS Rank. Thank you guys once again for watching, for listening, for commenting, for liking, for subscribing if you're on YouTube. Share it with people. We really appreciate the love. We've definitely seen our YouTube subscriber count slowly build up. That's really important. If you're listening to us on Spotify, those streams do count towards something in terms of placing us and getting us more eyes and more ears on us. So, once again, appreciate you guys, and we'll be back next week with another episode. Till then, peace.